In this video, I'll be doing something a little bit different. I'll be interviewing some folks from TKGA about the Next Level Knitting Conference. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. So the Knitting Guild Association is an organization near and dear to my heart, as many of you know already. They are a fantastic nonprofit organization dedicated to furthering the craft of knitting and elevating those knitting skills. As part of that mission, they hold a conference, a virtual conference every year called the Next Level Knitting Conference. So I have with me here today several members of TKGA, and they have been planning the Next Level Knitting Conference. I have Christina Hanger, Linda Kawecki, and Donna Estin. Thank you all for joining me and spending some time with me to tell everyone about the Next Level Knitting Conference.
Thanks for having us.
So I guess first up, maybe help explain to everyone what the Next Level Knitting Conference is.
It's a virtual conference. It's 3 days. We've got over 32 classes. I think we actually have 35 classes during that time. So there's always multiple classes going on at a time. But because it can be so hard to decide what you want to go to, the cool thing about this is when you purchase a ticket, you don't have to tell us what you want to go see because you have access for 6 months. So you can decide what you want to see live and then what you want to watch later, or you can see something live and then watch it as many times as you want. So, our mission at TKGA is around education for knitting. So we want you to have access for as long, or not for as long, but in the 6 months, our teachers request that we keep it at 6 months. For 6 months, and can watch it, all of the classes, just the ones you're interested in. You can watch them as many times as you want. So,
yeah.
Linda, what else did I miss?
Well, I think it's just a tremendous value for the number of classes you get, and then the number of months that you can continue to view or review the classes. We also offer a wide variety of topics that I think we'll get into a little bit more later. So we're trying to appeal to everyone. I think some people might have a misconception that this is really geared towards master knitters, and that's not necessarily the case. We try to offer a lot of things that, for everyone, to bring everybody up to their next level.
Yeah, that's a good point, because last year, only 15% of the attendees were working on master hand knitter. So it's the majority of people are just wanting to, they love knitting and they want to learn and they want to be able to connect with other knitters.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that classes geared towards beginner knitters, intermediate, advanced, and for knitters that actually already have gotten their master hand knitting program and they want to go to the next level. There's a whole slew of classes with more of an advanced theme. So there really is, something for everybody, no matter what level you are in your knitting journey.
And so when is this being held?
April 4th through 6th. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
But here's the cool thing. Yes, but you don't even have to actually be in town or be available to register. So we found out a lot of people were actually signing up for the conference when it was a time when they were going to be on vacation, or they had other things going on, or they weren't going to be available at all during the conference dates. Because if you register, as long as you register for the conference before it starts, then you can access it for the next 6 months. So even, it's not something that you physically have to be available to do unless you want to take the live classes. But yeah, you can, as long as you've signed up, you have access to it for the next 6 months.
Right. And there is a benefit to attending a live class, in that you do have an opportunity through a chat to ask questions of the teacher. Our platform is not a traditional Zoom, which a lot of people have participated in, where they raise their hand or whatever and ask a question directly to the teacher. in our case, people type into the chat a question, and we have a moderator who sort of screens all the questions and a lot of the chatter that happens sometimes in there. And also selects an appropriate time to interrupt the instructor with appropriate questions or comments. So that's the real benefit of being in the live class. But otherwise, you know, they're great anytime you view them.
And that is a really nice feature, Linda, because if you've ever been in a live classroom environment with knitting and you're sitting face to face, you know, there's always somebody that kind of has a question that sort of derails the topic, and it maybe it's an involved question that applies to them but not to you, and everyone just has to sort of sit through the answer. So it's nice on this platform, I think, because the pace keeps going. You know,
Right.
the teacher can choose to answer that question, or if they have a breakout room afterwards, they can hold the question until later the class ends, everyone goes to a breakout room, and then it's a little more informal chit chat, which you can talk more on specific cases or scenarios that happen in your knitting. But if it's something that doesn't apply to maybe the whole group, then they can just move on. So the class keeps going, and you don't really have those lag times.
Yeah, I think it's a real benefit. I think my first time attending, I was not involved in the organization at the time, and it was a little confusing to me to understand until I was actually, you know, in the class and saw how it worked. I thought, oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah. And we should say we keep the classes to 90 minutes, one, because we think that's about how long your attention span is interacting with the screen, but because the teacher is able to go cover a lot more, and you can watch it over again, right? You missed it, you watch it over again.
Right.
I agree.
Have breakout rooms afterward if you need some additional tutoring.
Yeah. And we have, and the breakout room does look more like a Zoom chat room. So you're still within our conference platform, but you can see the teacher, you can talk to them, or you can just go to a breakout room just to hang out with other knitters in between classes, or we have different groups set up for different like interests or something that you might want to go meet different people. So.
And so do you have to be a TKGA member in order to attend the conference?
No, but why wouldn't you want to be a member? But no.
Yes, I agree.
You can be a member. Obviously, it's going to cost just a little bit more. And I'm not going to, you know, you point people to the website. Tickets are on sale. You can find out what they are. But you can do a bundled price with becoming a member and getting your tickets, or you can just get tickets without being a member. So there's multiple ways to do it.
Awesome. I was curious, how did you pick the classes that you chose this year?
It was great fun, actually.
It was fun, but Linda, between the two of us, we're both organized about different things in different ways. But Linda had this massive, we had 85 applications to teach.
Wow.
And we were trying to keep it to 32. I think we were at like 35 right now. But so she color coded them all. And we also have in the platform, things are arranged by tracks. So, you know, there's a track for color, and there's a track for design, and one for finishing and stitches and technique. So we were trying to put classes into the different tracks, but also into how many slots we had for each one, and just get a good, we laid them all out. We went to a coffee shop and laid them all out.
Right. Yeah, I had index cards that were colored, and then the class description that I printed out on each index card, and then we'd move it around, you know, according to the schedule. So it was quite a Tetris exercise.
It really was. But as Donna mentioned, we're trying to cover lots of different things, right? Like we want, not everybody, I don't like knitting socks right now, but a lot of people do, right? So there's sock classes, right? Linda and I like to knit different things, right? We're both pretty big sweater knitters, but different kind of fibers, different kind of weights, I guess. So we try to find things that I tell people, I know that I'm not going to love every single class. If I loved every single class, everybody else would, you know, wouldn't like it, right? Like, so everybody's different. So we're looking to figure out how to find things that are going to give a wide variety.
And I think this year, because I've been involved with it 3 years now, I think this is coming up.
So, yeah.
And I think this year was the most interesting variety of class submissions that we've gotten.
Yes.
And, you know, just a lot of new topic. I've been knitting for over 35 years, but some new topics that I wasn't aware of. And that's why we moved away from this sort of beginner, intermediate, and advanced tracking, because we found that in some cases that doesn't really mean much. You could be knitting for 30 years, but if you've never done short rows, you know, it's a it's a basic technique, but you know, maybe it's advanced to you, even though you know, whatever. So yeah, it's just been a lot of fun to see all the different types of topics that people have come up with, and I'm anxious to learn some new things.
It's hard to get it down to that number of classes, right? With that many
It was very
submissions, it was very hard. So, and we have a lot of new teachers this year who haven't, obviously if we had 85 applications, that's the most applications we've ever had. And, you know, we're excited to have new teachers as well. And we did, Linda also did, everyone who submitted that we didn't accept, she gave them feedback on why as well. And we got a lot of feedback back from people saying, nobody ever tells you why you didn't get selected.
But it's also helpful to us because now they understand kind of what we're looking for. And yeah, and because I think sometimes when you reject people, they're just like, well, I'm never applying to that again. But if they understand that you got rejected because 4 people had already submitted short row classes and that was your topic, that's why we didn't choose you, not because we didn't think
or you were wanting to do something we did the year before, and we try not to repeat the exact same topic, right? You know, so that kind of thing. But it is fun though, and Linda and I happen to live in the same place right now, but she's moving, and so next year I don't know how I'll just have to come visit you. That's what it is.
Yeah, come visit.
I'll come visit. She's moving to New York City. I would love to come visit. So, but it's a lot, right, to go through all of that and think about how to do it.
So there's a mix of recorded content and live content. So why is that?
There's a lot of reasons why. So sometimes teachers get really freaked out by technology, and they do better if it's pre-recorded. And if it's a great teacher with good content, you know, so be it. Sometimes it's people don't have great internet bandwidth. And I don't know about y'all, I do a lot of virtual knitting classes, and nothing annoys me more than having paid for a class when the teacher says, I live out in the middle of nowhere and my internet speed's bad, right? Linda can tell you our folks would just be catatonic at that point. So we recognize that that's the case. We've also had some folks with some health issues. And we have that this coming year too, where it's a really great teacher who's, you know, juggling some things, and, you know, maybe they'll be okay. You know, maybe they will. I don't mean that they won't be okay, but maybe they'll feel up to it. Maybe they won't feel up to it at that point. So it's always nice to be able to offer it as an option.
Or it's just a scheduling issue.
What? I'm sorry?
Or just a scheduling issue that they
they're traveling or something like that.
Be there that particular day to record.
And the other thing is we need to keep it to 4 live classes streaming at a time because of the cost of all of the technology to do live streaming. So that's one of the big considerations as we're playing that Tetris game.
So what are some of the classes on offer this year, and who are some of the teachers?
One that I'm very curious about, because I love plaid, is a class called Mad for Plaid by Cheryl Murray. So that was one that when the submission came in, I immediately told Christina, this is going to the top of my list. And so when we're doing this, we all have a few like favorites.
We have favorites, right?
Priority consideration. That was one of mine.
I would say one that I was excited about was we had Amy Snail last year with Ladderback Jacquard, and she's doing the advanced Ladderback Jacquard. And she did give us permission to also play her Ladderback card from last year. So if you happen to miss it the year before, you can, you know, rewatch last year's on Friday and then go to her class on Saturday. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's a lot of really good ones.
There's
I'm gonna try to
also
pick out of
some that
every
like
class.
aren't like knitting technique related, but they complement a knitter lifestyle, like the Knitter Anatomy by Andrea Lloyd. I think that's going to be a really fascinating one.
Well,
Yeah,
and
she taught for us last year. She's a physical therapist who knits, and she was great last year. So we were happy
it
to
was
have her
really good.
back.
Yeah. So we have, she has a class this year called, Maker Anatomy. Oh,
Yeah.
it's wrong here on this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there's a lot of conversations on social media that come up about people that have either limitations or just pain when they're knitting. And so I think this is going to speak to a lot of people on ways that little things that we each can do in our own homes when we knit, just to make the whole experience, you know, more pleasant. I think that's going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, I thought her class last year was really good. I've read books by other people about the same issue and attended some other classes on PT for knitters and didn't find them to be particularly helpful. And I was really surprised that in Andrea's class last year, she had some really specific tips that I thought were very easy to remember and to incorporate into my knitting.
There's
I think,
also classes, if you're doing the Master Hand Knitting program, there is a class
true.
geared towards level 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you guys have it up there. I know buttonholes is one.
Cast on and bind offs for level 3, buttonholes for level 2.
I think
And
Leslie's doing reading your knitting
yeah,
fabric.
drape. Like,
Understand
how do you get the
that.
right gauge and drape for your fabric? There's a track of design classes. Some is designed from, you know, starting, and some might be just modifying the pattern. Like, so we always get asked every year for raglan and top down. So we do have a, you know, it's in the design track, but it really, I can't remember. Tailored raglans, mastering custom fit top down. So it could be designing or also
Altering.
modding, rather, yeah. Altering it. Lisa Topin is the one with that. So we've got a bunch of finishing classes.
We have a class on charting tools for both color and texture, which I think will be very interesting. And Cindy Dell is doing a class called Using Beads to Add Color and Texture.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to create this color track this year, which was something new for us.
And you know, color's so big, right, in knitting. So there are a lot of, whether it's brioche or it's fair isle or it's stranded or whatever it is, there are a lot of classes. And we have a pretty full finishing track this year too, which a lot of times we don't have as many finishing classes, but everything from blocking to zippers to seaming to picking up to, there's
tail weaves.
Tail weaves, yeah, and you know, duplicate stitch, and even things, you know, which are sort of like interesting, like, you know, how do you sign your knitting, which was sort of one of those topics we thought, oh, that's kind of different and interesting. We hadn't heard that before.
And then we have Heather returning because she's one of our favored teachers. She's doing darning for hand knits, which will be something new this year, and also designing with lace.
Yeah. So there's just a wide variety. There's a really wide variety, and really things you don't see other places. Some things you see in other places, but also things that I don't think I've seen in many other places.
And the listing of the teachers and the whole schedule and all of the classes is up on the website. So folks,
as well as class description and homework.
So folks can check it out before you buy your ticket, to make sure, you know, there's things, but I'm sure there's something for everyone. There's going to be something for everyone.
And the homework, you know, a lot of, you know, some people get like really freaked out when they're like, wait, there's homework. I have to
some do, some
something
don't.
ahead of time. But you know, not all the classes have homework. It's just some of them, when you think about it, if you're like talking about 3 needle bind off or a seam where you need to get part of the knitting done so that you guys can start doing the bind off part in the class. You want to have all that stuff done ahead of time so the class isn't waiting for everyone to sit there and knit a swatch and all get to the same point. It just keeps the class going a lot faster. You don't have to do the homework, but it's definitely, you'll gain more from the class if you've already gotten up to the point that the teacher wants you to be, so that everyone's kind of on the same page. But it's there, the supplies that you need, what you need to do, everything's on the website.
Do knitters have to sign up for a particular session ahead of time?
Nope.
We don't care.
And
You log into our conference platform and then you choose.
right. And if you're in a class and it's not meeting your needs, you can just exit and go to another one.
And after the live classes finish, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to get them uploaded. So, within the hour after a live class, say you watch one class live, and there was another one going on, within an hour, you can be watching that one, the recording of it. So it doesn't take very long for our tech team to get those put up.
And I would say, look at the class list and maybe print them out or circle the ones you want to take, because if there's 2 classes that you're really interested in and they're at the same time, pick the one that you want to do most and take that one live. And then let the other one be one that you can go back and watch later on a recorded version. Because when you do take the class live, you do have that opportunity to type in chat questions for the teacher. So if there's anything that you're confused about, or just a topic that you want to throw out, you have that chance on the ones that you're doing live. So that's normally the ones that you are the most excited about, are the ones that you want to take live.
But you can change your mind. And we didn't say how much it was, but we probably really should. Donna mentioned just such a great value, but it's $150 for 35 classes, right? That you can watch for 6 months. Nobody else is charging anything like that.
And that is the early bird pricing for TKGA
pricing.
members. And the early bird pricing ends March 14th. So you'll want to get your registration done before then. And if you're non-members, it's $185 for the bundle, which is the Conference Plus membership. And again, that's early bird pricing.
But that price, for others that, you can maybe get 2 or 3 classes for that price and you get to watch them for 2 weeks or something. So it is a good deal.
It's a very good deal. I was at a knitting meetup in my new city a couple of weeks ago, and knitting and doing a little promotion about Next Level Knitting Conference. And I was telling the people, there were about 15 people at this little gathering, and they were all just astounded and excited to hear about this. And I know right after that, several people went to the website and became TKGA members and are very excited to join the Next Level Knitting Conference. So
yeah. And last year, we had we had close to 700 people last year. I think we'll have that many. And I think we had 15 or 16 different countries. So we do have people from all over the world. So.
Now you were mentioning that the students can't interact with the teacher during the class other than with the chat.
Right.
Are there any other ways for attendees to interact with one another?
We do have breakout rooms in between classes, where it's like a Zoom chat room that most people are familiar with, where you can just go and talk to people, talk about what they're knitting, or most of the teachers will have a breakout after their class. You have to give them a minute to get from one tech platform to the next, and they can answer questions. Or sometimes, I don't know that there's a lot of questions that get asked, but sometimes people just like to talk to their teacher and have them see them and be seen, and just give some feedback. And you can message people in the platform. When you register and log into the platform, you choose if you want to be open for people to send you direct messages in the platform, so you can do that.
And when you're in the class and there's this chat function that the moderator is moderating, everybody in the class can see that.
Right.
you can see what other comments and questions the other students in the class have.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the social events that will be happening?
Okay.
You should go first.
On Friday night, I'm very excited about this one. I have been a big follower of Andrew Mowry for many years and have been lucky enough to attend Rhinebeck the last several years and always make the Andrew Mowry Rhinebeck sweater. And so when Christina and I got together after our last conference last year, and we always do some brainstorming right after the conference just to figure out what went well, what didn't go so well. And I was sort of in the midst of thinking about my next Rhinebeck sweater. And I thought, we should have a next level knitting conference sweater. And so we sort of hatched this idea of a knit along, which I guess is the first in TKGA history, which is a little surprising. But on Friday night, we are going to have an event to celebrate that knit along with the design by Jennifer Kent, that hopefully people are already working on and have maybe been participating in watching the Zooms that are being put on for that. So we will have an event on Friday night. Traditionally, we've had a Friday night event that was a yarn dyer or producer, and just learned a little bit about the industry. So this year is going to be a little bit different, but we'll get a chance to see how everybody has interpreted the knit along.
So it'll be just for fun. It's going to be fun, right? Just to celebrate, and we'll have some prizes. And we haven't said, but we give away prizes throughout the weekend, and we have like already $3,500 worth of prizes. So it'll be, it will be a great time. And then on Saturday, we've got Dr. Jennifer Daly, who is a knitting designer, and she specializes in Shetland knitting. And so she has lived in Shetland in the Faroe Isles for a period of time while she was working on her dissertation. She's actually got her PhD in textile arts and focused on knitting. And I heard her speak at something and thought, well, this would be really cool. We have a lot of people really interested in color. And so so it's part, I tell her it's like part travel log, like lots of beautiful pictures of scenery and sheep, and part history lesson about how some of the colors and designs and things developed. And then just, her knitting journey. And the evening ones are done on Zoom, so people can, but we do record it so you can see it if you can't join us. Time zone's not allowing, but you can watch it later. But she can talk about like the history and how her research on how certain garments were done in Faroe Islands. So we try to do lots of different things.
And the Friday and Saturday night events are really just kind of a time to relax, where you're not in class and having to pay attention and follow what's going on. It's really a chance to just sort of lean back and learn something fun.
Right. Bring your knitting and sit and knit. Right. Yeah.
And maybe win a prize.
Maybe win a prize.
Yeah, so Linda mentioned that she's looking forward to the Mad for Plaid. What are some other things that you're most looking forward to this year?
Well, advanced ladderback jacquard for me is one. We've got Mary Martin, an intro to fission knitting. Some people have seen her fission and fusion, and I might be pronouncing it wrong. She's got both types, but it's almost looks kind of woven. Heather, you know what you made a face like you knew who I was talking about. So she's doing fission knitting, and I look at it and I'm like, that's really fascinating. And and then Astia, Linda, that you were instrumental in getting Astia frill for us.
Yeah, she has a book about dye stitch, which I found the book several years ago, and I was just really fascinated by this stitch. And I bought the book, but of course I did not read it. So magically I did not learn the technique somehow. And but I took a class from her on the same topic at Vogue Knitting Live last year, and still have not mastered it, but I still think the stitch is really, really interesting. So we are delighted to have added her to the lineup of classes, and she's going to teach the introduction to dye stitch for us.
Now that, the pandemic's over and we're sort of back to a hybrid of in-person classes and virtual classes, and the conferences are kind of, we're all, as a world, we're kind of doing a hybrid version of all of this stuff now. And, if you've gone to an in-person event or class recently, when you add up your flights, your hotel, your transportation, your meals, the time away, like it's a family vacation for
Yes.
you to go do this. So it's so not, I think it's just it's like a weight is lifted for this conference, because you can attend in your comfy socks, and you can have your dog or your cat with you, and you're in your home. You don't have to pay all of the expenses out. It's totally at your convenience. If you are in the middle of a class and something comes up, it's fine. You leave, you can go take care of what you need to take care of and come back, and it's always there. So I think it's just a really easy way, without a big commitment of time or money or effort, to be able to sort of absorb all this knowledge. And yeah, it's just sort of a relaxing way, I think, to do it all.
I wanted to mention one other class, which was Tanya Lyons is going to be teaching one on variegated yarns, and how to use those to best effect. And I think of it because she sent in her handouts today, and I was looking at them, and they were really fascinating. So just want to throw that one out there too, because I struggle with variegated yarns, right? Like, how do you use variegated yarns?
Tanya
The handouts are really cool because you can print those out, and you've got those as reference, like bullet points. Some are just, it's a really nice little kind of a cheat sheet. So even if you don't want to go back and rewatch the 90-minute class, you can skim through those handouts and a lot of times find the answer that you're missing.
Tanya is also teaching a class on knitting chart know-how, which I think is really great. Personally, I love charts and I can read a chart, but I know that that's not a topic that I have seen at a lot of other places where there's been classes on it. So I'm curious to see how she's going to present that. And then we also
just lots of good ones
on Ravelry, on using Ravelry. So we're we know a lot of people use Ravelry for purchasing patterns, but I'm a big user of Ravelry, and
Linda is a power user.
Keeping track of all my stash, and I love it, and I'm always sort of trying to tutor my friends into using it as effectively too. So I'm excited to see. I forget the name of the person that has that class.
Deborah? Is it Deborah by chance?
Yes, Deborah Wolf, Level Up Your Knitting Ravelry. So I'm excited about that one too.
Is there anything else you'd like everyone to know about the Next Level Knitting Conference that we haven't touched upon?
We maybe should talk about that tech platform just a little bit, because if you haven't been, like Linda said, the first time it sounds confusing. About a week before the conference starts, we will send you a login code to Brella, which is our conference platform, and you'll do your join code and log in. And as soon as you log in, you're going to see the whole the schedule. You'll see there'll be places where all the handouts are, where every class description at the bottom has the handout link too. So there's lots of places where you can find the handouts. There'll be information on the prizes and the show specials, but it's basically the place you go for everything about the conference. And then when you're watching a class, whether it's live or recorded, you go to the schedule, you click the class, and that's how you get to watch the class. So did I say that? We're getting so that we're really used to it, so I'm not sure we understand the struggles as much. When people are like, that doesn't make any sense to me, it's like, it will once you log in. It will.
It makes sense once you're there. Yeah.
And we do have 11 sponsors this year, and they have been absolutely wonderful to work with. If you go to the tkga.org/conference, and Heather will have the link, you'll see at the bottom of that page all of the sponsors that are participating in the 25 show. There's links to their website. Please do check out what they offer. Some of them may be names that you're very familiar with, and others are someone maybe that's new to you, or you're not sure what new products they have. So They're all there on the website. We'll be giving away prizes for all of them.
And Donna, am I right in saying many of them will offer show specials as well to our
yes, some of
students
them
and
are
participants?
Yes, some of them are offering 7-day show specials, which will start on April 4th and run for 7 days. Also, some teachers will be offering the show specials as well. And we will have all of those on the Umbrella site. So when you're in there, you're in between classes and you feel like shopping, there'll be plenty of links for you and discount codes and lots of good offers. So that's always fun.
So I am always amazed at the value for the price, because you don't have, it's not just classes, right? It's classes, it's social events, it's prizes and giveaways, it's discount codes. It's a huge
Handouts and lots of references you can have, and yeah.
And it's an all-inclusive price. It's not a pay-per-class price,
right?
Which is so nice.
It's nice for us too, because we don't have to keep up with it all.
Right.
You're either in or you're not.
Essentially, people are paying like $5 a class.
Yeah,
Where are you going?
I mean, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah. We really do want people to, we are here as a nonprofit to help people learn and to take their knitting to the next level, and that's what we're all about. And so we're really, it works out. Trust us, we're not losing money on it. Mary Beth, our treasurer, would not let us lose money on it. But it's because we have lots of volunteers. We do pay our teachers. We pay our teachers, and we try to pay our teachers very well. So that's why teachers want to come back year after year.
Well, thank you so much for joining me to tell everyone a little bit about the Next Level Knitting Conference.
Thanks for the opportunity.
See you in April.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me to hear a little bit about the Next Level Knitting Conference put on by the Knitting Guild Association. Links are in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing a ticket. I hope this was a helpful video. Thank you for watching, and happy knitting.